Concerned about an issue in your life? Need some legal direction? You've come to the right place. Welcome to 5-Minute Legal Insights, a podcast that features top lawyers from across the country and delivers bite-sized moments of pure gold, so you can benefit from years of legal know-how in just minutes. Each week, we bring you the things that make the big difference, so you know how to approach your legal situation with confidence and clarity. Now, here's your host and founder of the law firm Authority Network, Grant Eagle.
Welcome to the show, everybody, and I'm here with Kristin Paulding again, founding partner at Seven Cities Law, one of the leading criminal defense firms in Virginia Beach. As you may know, Kristin began her trial experience in her teens and since then has tried hundreds of criminal cases, including high-profile murder and drug cases. And today, we're talking juvenile defense and some of the practical things parents and young people need to know when dealing with authorities and law enforcement. Welcome to the show, Kristin.
Hi, Grant. Thanks for having me today.
Great to have you back. Now, let's get into this. Now, one of the things you said to me off air that you really wanted to point out to parents especially was this thing about the police can turn up at the school at any time and request to interview your child or a juvenile without parents being there, right?
Yeah. So in Virginia, most parents don't realize that the police could come and talk to your child either at school or bring them down to the police station, and they do not need to ask the parents' permission in order to do that. And they do not ask for permission to have the parent present either. So a lot of times, parents will realize that their child may be at the police station being interviewed, and they know nothing about it until after the interview is over.
Wow. That's, as a parent myself, that really freaks me out.
It's very scary, and it's frustrating because the parent will get the call and they'll be like, well, pick up your child at the police station. We've brought him or her down to interview about this. And the parent is just kind of floored because they had no heads up that this was going on.
So so if parents are listening to this now, what do you think, or what should they know?
Well, I think you have to talk to your child because your child has to understand that they have the absolute right to remain silent. So they do not have to speak to the police. And in the school setting, they may be called down to the principal's office or to the school resource or school police officer and asked to discuss certain things. And they have the right to remain silent, and they have the right to ask for their parent to be present or even a lawyer to be present before that conversation takes place. So I think you need to talk to your kids and make sure that they understand, hey, I can ask to have my mom or dad here before I answer any of these questions.
Okay. And you also mentioned to me that things like cell phones, police can sort of lead kids into sharing their cell phone, which is something that you really advise against, right?
Well, cell phones are a hot piece of evidence right now. It's a way for police to track who are you talking to, where is your location, what photographs, what social media, who are you hanging out with. So if the police can get someone's cell phone, whether a child or an adult, and they can get permission to look through that phone, they could find a lot of things that are helpful or harmful to their investigation. But it makes it very easy for them if someone just hands over their cell phone and says, well, sure, you can look through it.
So, but again, if a parent's listening to this and then they tell their kids about this episode and try and translate what we're talking about, I think it's important that a parent needs to explain to a child, listen, you're not obligated just to consent and agree with the police because they're an authority figure. And I think a lot of kids feel obligated to do as they're told in these situations.
Absolutely. So a police officer can take your cell phone, but they can't go through your cell phone and look at the photos and the texts and the calls without a search warrant, meaning they would have to go to a judge or a magistrate and say, I have some probable cause or evidence that this person committed a crime. Can I look through their phone? Well, that can be a timely process. So many times the police will say, well, rather than taking a few days or making me keep your cell phone for a few hours, do you just want to give me the passcode? Do you mind if I look through it? And a lot of times kids who do respect authority figures will say sure. A lot of adults say sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to convey that don't do that. Don't give the police your passcode. Don't
Yeah.
open up your phone for them to have access
Mm.
to the whole phone, because you never know what they're looking for and what they're potentially going to find.
Now, for good people who listen to this, people might say, well, look, if you've got nothing to hide, why wouldn't you share your phone?
Well, absolutely. But you don't know what the police are looking for. So let's say, for example, they're coming to talk to your child because they found that your child brought some marijuana on school property. And
Mm-hmm.
they want to see, well, who have you been texting? Well, they may potentially look at the text and try to collect information to say, oh, well, you talked to this person about meeting back behind the school parking lot. You talked to that
Yeah.
person about meeting at a football game. So you
Yeah.
think that they're just harmless texts, but the police are investigating to see, are you making contacts and connections? Are you buying drugs from someone? And
Right.
they may find something incriminating that you don't think is incriminating.
Okay. All right. And it can lead them down a road that actually, you've then got to disprove.
Well, absolutely. You're basically handing over free evidence to them.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that.
No, absolutely not. And you were mentioning to me also that there's a lot of dangerous misconceptions around things like online images on social media that kids have, right?
Yeah, well, I noticed that a lot of the apps, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube, it's all about making videos and posting photos these days. And where I've noticed here, at least in Virginia Beach, is that if there are photos that could be considered inappropriate, that contain body parts like breasts or buttocks or a male's body part, if kids are sending those back and forth, it's possible that you can be charged with various crimes, such as when you send that type of photograph into the world, it kind of stays out there in the internet. And you don't know who's screenshotting it or sending it around. We want to make sure that our kids know that if you send that to somebody else and they were to post it on Instagram or they were to post it without your permission, they could be charged. It's a new crime called revenge porn. That's kind of the statute here in Virginia Beach, and that makes it a misdemeanor to harass someone by putting their pictures out into kind of the universe, into the internet without that person's permission.
Yeah. And you also mentioned that there are certain platforms where kids think, well, I can take a photo and then it's just going to disappear after a certain amount of time. And that's not really true.
Well, it depends on what platform. So Snapchat, Instagram, many times Snapchat, once you take your photo and everyone views your photo, it will kind of disappear. But your chat information, the fact that you took the photo, who you sent it to, that is data that police can obtain later on. Photos with Instagram, the police can use subpoenas to go back through and look for the various posts that you've made. And then even if you've deleted items off of your phone, police often have the ability to get deleted images off of your phone. So I think kids just have to be aware that regardless of what app you're using, be careful of what you are texting, be careful of what you're posting, what pictures you're taking.
Yeah.
Because that information, once you kind of send it out there into the world, you can't necessarily get rid of it.
Yeah, it's not coming back. No, not anytime
No,
soon anyway. No. So if you were standing in front of a group of parents and you wanted to give them, a heartfelt message, what would it be regards their kids now and the law?
I think that they have to take the time to sit down and talk with their kids, because it's a real possibility that their child is going to have an interaction with the police officer. And there's a difference between being pulled over for a speeding ticket and being pulled into, a conference room at school or taken down to a police station and questioned about things that you may have been involved in, whether it's a little bit of marijuana or school threats are very common these days because everyone is taking them so seriously. And it's just important to know that, look, if you're not comfortable, don't say anything at that moment. It doesn't mean you can't talk to someone later on, but wait till you talk to your parent, wait till you talk to someone you trust, and then decide how to go forward.
All right. It's great information. Kristin, look, once again, thanks ever so much for coming back on the show. So for everybody listening, Kristin's details are going to be right underneath the podcast. So if you click there, you'll go straight through to her website and you'll be able to call her office. And she's going to be happy to take the call, I think. Pretty sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Kristin, speak soon. Thanks again. And
thanks, Grant.
Really enjoyed the episode. Thanks.
Have a great one.
And you. Bye.
Thanks for joining us in this episode of 5-Minute Legal Insights. If you'd like to contact our featured guest, just check the highlights on their episode page at www.legalinsightspodcast.com, and you'll find their phone number, email, as well as their website. Oh, and if you're a lawyer with something to say, then just get in touch. 5-Minute Legal Insights, helping people get clear on their legal issue in minutes. The views expressed by the participants are their own and are not endorsed by 5-Minute Legal Insights. Nothing said in this podcast is legal advice for you.